firearms that do work. Now, although that's kind of cheating because it was an 80% kit, it's only kind of cheating. See, I can make more than just my own firearms. I can also make my own ammunition. That comes down to knowing what materials you're working with. There's a lot of different things that can be used as propellants. There was a guy who was hunting rabbits outside of Chapel, Nebraska. He had himself I guess you could call it a rifle. It was basically just a tube with a nail that had a bunch of tape around it. And a bigger tube that was right behind it. Had a little tiny hole in it. And he'd spray a little bit of spray in there. He didn't care what it was. It could be Lysol, it could be spray paint, it could be just about anything. Hell, he could run the thing on alcohol if he wanted to. But he'd hunt rabbits with it, and prairie dogs. How long he took to make it, he said, well, I found the pipe. All I had to do was put a handle on it and make something on the back connector to plug this into. He picked up a can of some sort of a spray bottle and he just pushes it in the back. There's a Sonic Dad on YouTube, and what's the other one? King of Random. They make a marshmallow shooter. And this marshmallow shooter is basically the same thing. It's just made out of PVC instead of metal pipe. In Japan, where it's illegal to own a firearm, well, kind of, sort of. It's kind of like Great Britain. They pretend like it's illegal for anyone to own a firearm, but in reality, there are still people who are allowed to own firearms. In Great Britain, there are private citizens who are more trusted to own firearms than the police. Alright, my windows are finally defogged. Waking up this morning was a little different. I don't know if it was Lewis or somebody else, but just before 3:30 this morning, somebody was beating on my fucking window. At least I was able to get to sleep last night for a little bit. And I get to see who the most victimized people in the country are. For the most part, they're the people that don't have guns. You know what it took for black folks to get rights? It took black people with firearms marching right into a government building, the Senate building in California, with firearms. Violent people only understand violence. They want to tell you that you should try talking it out while they ignore you while you try to talk it out. Tyrants do not give up power. They don't. They don't just hand it over to the people. Tyrants take it from the people. Big difference. When it comes to Pandora, you can't just put her back in the box. We got too many machinists in the United States. Way too many machinists. All they got to do is get a hold of the plans or the blueprints, and lo and behold, you guys are screwed. One person who knows what they're doing can teach others how to do so. One person, let's say You don't trust anybody to make the barrels for your firearms. You want to make high quality firearms, at least the barrel. That way you know you got decent accuracy coming out of the thing for all it's worth, because some of them gun designs out there are crap, and they'll reduce your accuracy by quite a bit. Now, why is it the gun laws don't work? We got to hear Sarah Bacon and quite a few other people too. There's solutions for every goddamn thing, or violence. Violence, violence, violence. Someone ought to get violent. That's what they just want to keep on pushing. Violent, violent, violent. People keep telling me what I should do. Telling me I should kill this person and I should kill that person. Holy fuck, you notice Leslie Snell is not beheaded? She still has her head. You notice that Scott DaCosta has not been bisected. He's still in one piece. You notice that Matty Boa has not been put into a tire or a stack of tires and lit on fire. I'm not sure if you've noticed those things. I'm not sure if you noticed that Kara Johnston Miles didn't get a .22 long rifle between her eyeballs. I'm not sure if Officer Michael Beard, or of course Officer Michael West, I'm not sure if y'all noticed, but Officer Beard was not shot between his eyes with a .45, was he? No, he wasn't. That's what Candace said she would do if people came and messed with her and her kids. And who messed with her and her kids? People on the internet and people in real life. Her landlord and the cops harassed and threatened Candace Bondurant. Did she go after the predators? No, she took it out on me. I was the one punished. Gun laws don't work for a lot of different reasons. Let me tell you how many people have given me firearms since Natalie died. A lot of people tried. A lot of people put guns in my hands. Sandy Fromm put a gun in my hands. Actually, she put a few guns in my hands. Wendell McPhee put multiple guns in my hands. A lot of people put guns in my hands. There's people in Chapel, Nebraska that know I talk about everything on the internet. And even knowing that, there are people who offered to give me firearms and told me who their predators are. Always a stipulation, isn't there? Always. Sean Jefferson was willing to give me a firearm. He had somebody in specific he wanted taken care of. That would be Douglas Pollock. No, I didn't accept the firearm. I didn't go take out Douglas Pollock, although he does deserve it. The messed up things Pollock did to me were trivial. They're not something that anybody should be killed over, but he did a lot worse to a lot of other people. There's all this stuff that you guys tell me I'm entitled to. Tell me to do this, tell me to do that, and I go jumping through those hoops. And I don't get those entitlements. I don't think you're quite understanding what the word entitled means. You guys are entitled. There's a lady the other day, I never see her without family. She's always got family around. is always taking care of them. They got a good dynamic going on. When I say I have to do everything alone, she tells me she's got to do everything alone. No, she doesn't. She may have to do the paperwork alone, because most of her family isn't able to do so. So she does all the disability stuff for everybody in the family. That is different, though. It's a lot different. But she gets to see them. She gets to have that dynamic. For me, I don't really get to have friendships. Out here, everybody on the streets is running around on their own agenda. When they're going to have fun, they're going to have fun with somebody of the opposite sex or somebody who has the drugs that they prefer. That leaves me as the odd man out. Taking away gun rights. You take a look at the black population. They're not likely to have guns. They're less likely to have guns than white people. And the homeless are less likely to have guns than all of them. Disabled people, especially mentally disabled people, most of them are prevented from having firearms. So of course, BLM everybody cares about, although they're not even on the top 5 list of most victimized in this country or most killed by police. Not even per capita. You can't put Pandora back. We have guns. The homeless population is pretty devoid of them. We're the least likely to have them. Us and those called mentally ill. And who is it the police murder the most? Disabled people and homeless people. That's one of the few lists where children are not at the top of the list of victims. Most of the time when I talk about these lists, I'm talking in specific about at-risk adults. But many of the things that I talk about do involve children. Children can be disabled as well. Children can be black. Children can come from a poor neighborhood. When you're in a poor neighborhood, the only solution people actually have access to is violence. But it's not violence against the people who harm them. Poor people, just like the rest of you, try to find somebody lower on the totem pole to shit on. Somebody who's less of a human being to American society. Somebody who's less likely to have a firearm. Because if they got a firearm, they'll shoot you. So you got to pick somebody who's the least likely, don't you? Who do you pick? Who do you pick to take that out on? Now, sure, you get a middle-class person or an upper-middle-class person. You know, you got options at that point. You have the option of going to a cop, especially if you're not homeless. But if you are homeless, even BLM doesn't give a shit about you. Not even if you're a black homeless person, because the moment you become homeless, you're no longer black to most of the black population. Matter of fact, you're no longer human to most of the population. Sure, there's people who care, but they care about you in the way they care about a stray puppy. Or a stray dog, I should say. They're not going to take you home. You're filthy and you're nasty, and conceptually they kind of feel bad for you, but they don't know what you go through. And even if you try to explain it, they're not going to understand the words that are coming out of your mouth because they're not going to try. You can make all the gun laws in the world, but it's not going to stop human nature. You take away guns, people would just stab each other or bash each other over the head with rocks. I've seen it. People been killing people since before there were guns, people. This is common goddamn sense. There's also a lot of people like me out here that really, I don't want to draw a bunch of attention to myself. You go shooting people, you make noises. You make noises, people call the cops. People call the cops, cops show up, cops have guns. It's better to have something lightweight, clandestine, easily concealable, and not considered a weapon. That's a lot easier way to do it. This shit's not okay. The victimization of the people in America who are least likely to have firearms. And then, of course, who is it that's got all the firearms? Mostly rednecks. Mostly gun-toting, meat-eating assholes who follow a Nazi regime and share racism for breakfast. Nebraska-type folks, Texas-type folks. Folks who think slavery is okay and blaming people because of their skin color is okay. People who drink $1,500 worth of booze in a month and then complain that blacks and Mexicans and homeless people and women on welfare are the reason they're always broke. Ain't nothing like listening to a Nebraskan who hasn't had a job in almost 40 years telling you about how you just need to get a job. Holy shit. God bless America. Gun control doesn't work because our predators already have guns. Gun control doesn't work because the victims are prevented from having a firearm and shooting back. We've made it here in America so that guns are novelties from TV. Novelties. We got kids worshiping the gun. They never even held one. They just want to be a soldier. That didn't work out well, did it? This is a tough war. It's a matter of logistics. When the people who have those logistics are predators and they work together as a group, yeah, what chance do we have? What chance does an unarmed homeless person have against crooked law enforcement? Or people whose solutions are always violent? You know, I understand. I really do. I understand that Leslie Snell should be beheaded. I understand that. I've listened to people like Chris Stegman and his whole dynamics on why it should be a beheading. Well, I disagree. I think she should be in prison. I didn't have any help with that, though, did I? No, what I had was a bunch of pretty fucking words from a bunch of goddamn junkies and a bunch of crooked fucking cops. You know, I don't make you the pieces of shit that you choose to be. That's your decision. When it comes to going out and getting dinner, I have a bow, I have arrows, I got slingshots. If it becomes necessary for me to kill something and eat it, yeah, I can do that. But it's not something I'm going to go out and hunt people with. Now, don't get me wrong, a slingshot would be an excellent choice for doing such a thing, but I wouldn't go with a standard slingshot. And you can fire an arrow out of a standard slingshot, just so you know. As long as you know what you're doing. Matter of fact, I might even have a slingshot in here that I have rigged up for firing arrows. I don't have any arrows in my car currently. They're in storage. But, we're on this side, I think. All right. Fuck it. Well, it's not something that I need to have handy all the time. It's not something that I pull out and play with every single day. It's not something that I see it and I have to hold it and put it in my hands and stare at it for hours and go, oh man, the things I could do with this. When it comes to guns, though, we got a lot of people who don't know shit about them. It's just a novelty. And as soon as they get one in their hands, they start doing stupid shit. I get it. I get why people are afraid of guns. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. A gun is just a tool. If you teach somebody that a gun is for going out and getting dinner with, that's the mentality they're going to have with it. If you teach them that it's dangerous, then they'll keep that in mind. If every time something goes wrong, you want to talk about going and shooting somebody, and you're teaching your kid how to use a firearm, that's scary. But that's the majority of the firearms owners that I know. A lot of the firearms owners I have in Nebraska, they specifically own guns so they can shoot any black people that come on their property. You know how screwed up that is? Of course, they don't say black people. There's all sorts of words they use that are not black people. Getting rid of people's ability to have guns. You look at how prevalent it is and how often disabled people are murdered. Now there are laws preventing so many people from owning a firearm. Now those are the easiest people to victimize. You think any of them old people in nursing homes, you think any of them got a firearm? No. Ain't nobody gonna let them have a fucking gun in a nursing home. Are you shitting me? So of course, if a rapist wants to be able to rape somebody and not get shot, well, just go to a nursing home, right? Or of course, kids ain't allowed to have firearms, are they? They're number one on a lot of lists. If we talk about every victim in America versus what I usually talk about, I usually separate the two. I give you the numbers for children and I'll give you the numbers for adults. Well, that's because a lot of the stuff that I'm having to look up for myself is about at-risk adults. I also looked up a lot of the stuff about kids when I was a kid, when I was younger. We also had to take those classes when I was a kid. Anytime you're in the system, you got to take some classes. You got to take these classes because you exist. These classes teach you who your mandated reporters are, who you're supposed to go talk to if you're victimized, all sorts of useful stuff. Education is key. Now you get to hear from Sarah Bacon about her violence issues and her propensity towards it. Those are not my decisions, but that's the kind of help that I got from most people. They're willing to call that help. Oh damn! I got to pull over. Just smashed my damn phone. There's a lot of really screwed up situations. The situation with Natalie Bollinger is just one of many. You get to see how useless the cops are. It sucks. Being told to go to those guys and they're fucking useless. Why are you telling me to go to somebody who's useless? Why are you going to tell me to go to somebody who is a liar? Oh. Here, this guy's making more accounts. We'll take a screenshot of that. We got a lot of these people, don't we? What do we do? Hide user on this channel. Blam. You see how easy that was? Anyway. I made this channel to try to get help for the victims, and you notice there is no actual help here. There's I'm fucking sorries and there's trolls. That's it. Ain't none of y'all good people. You know the difference between a nice person and a good person, don't you? Good person does the right thing because it's the right thing to do, even if it's not popular. A nice person only cares about popularity, only cares about not making waves, only cares to hide in the corner. Oh, you say pretty things, but no follow through. Your idea of helping people is trying to convince others to be as cowardly as you are. Well, congratulations, America. You have taught your residents to be a nation of cowards who just want to run around talking about killing each other. But why wouldn't they? That's what the cops are doing. That's what our government shows us. The United States government and law enforcement at large have shown us very loud and clear that the only thing they understand is violence. They're not going to stop killing people until they're dead. That's why you have the Second Amendment, stupid.